This is my second video of my 2004 Saab 9.3. It's the ARC or the ARC. Yeah, when I got it, it was missing this front bumper lip. I went and ordered one. There's a company that sells them for a little bit cheaper out of Poland. But this is the Aero one, not the Arc one. The trim it tapers off, or it's narrower. You know, it comes up and gets real narrow right here along the edge. I had a can mixed of from the color code. It ended up being just a little bit darker. And then I did I drilled small holes underneath and did some self-tapping screws to mount it. There's a few like cosmetic stuff on the car. Like the bumpers were faded a little bit, so I did what's called a prep spray. It cleans all the wax and grease, and then I masked it off and hit it with a gloss. So it's the stuff here. It's from Duplicolor. It's called prep spray. And I just use this here. It's Duplicolor. It's just what they call acrylic lacquer clear coat. Anyhow, I did that too from all the black trim all around. Also, this was kind of faded, so I did the same thing on this little grill trim, and it just brings it back out. Kind of make it look new again. I still have to do the black on the grill here, but I like the Aero lip or valance, whatever they call it, for the bumper. Came out pretty well. I did the top. It's the original top. It had, I don't know what happened from the previous owner. It had like a tear here and then looked like something scraped along the top. So I just did like a silicone sealer for now. I might end up scraping it off and do like a fabric repair so it blends in better. And then I treated it with this Renovo, I think it's called. The problem is they charge just for the dye and the sealer. It's only it's $60 for, you only get 500 milliliters, and it's barely, you don't even get enough to cover the whole top. So I try to stretch it out as much as I can. There's some patches where I need to do, but I just wrote them, said I was disappointed, so they're going to just send me some more, so that way I can at least complete my top. And then I did the same thing here. Like, these are the door handle's a little faded, so I did the prep spray and cleaned them up and then hit it with a gloss. Overall, the car's in pretty good shape. There's little scrapes and dings and here and there, nothing major. It's, I got a little stuff here, a little scrape there, and then this I gotta. I want to touch that up better. And the center console cover, it's it's a wood kind of, I don't know exact material if it's actually wood, but anyhow, these are typically the same color as this, but when I got it, it was just so faded that I took the same color code or the same can, and I shot this. Also, this was chrome, and the chrome didn't go with anything else in the car. There's nothing else chrome in the car, so I sprayed this too, the same color. This was just completely faded out. It's just kind of like a off-white plastic, and it takes this same kind of rubbery substance that you see on kind of flakes off on the trim pieces, and it's real bad here. So I ended up, I prepped it, stripped all the plastic coat on it, and then reshot it with a gloss. I might bring it down to maybe a flat black or semi-gloss, since that's what normally it's this color, and this is a little off. It's more flatter, and I can't really paint this because what it'll do is it'll cover over you know, the lettering. So I don't know, I might try to polish it out with a plastic polish. Maybe it'll bring it out more so they match better. But overall, that's what I've done so far as cosmetically. This drawer, this is supposed to slide out, but the drawer was all broken up, so I fixed the hinge on it so it opens properly. And I just kind of cleaned up the interior. It was all kind of, it was just neglected. The person I purchased it from, you know, he had a lot of used cars, and this was one of his oddball cars, I guess, because he had a bunch of, I think, like those Lexus 2-doors. Anyhow, I'm just doing some cleanup and you know, little cosmetic stuff. This was actually, I was wondering, because this was stuffed underneath this little XM thing, and it just, I thought this was just part of the car. It was like a big hole here, and I thought maybe it was missing a tray, and then I found out this thing actually fits up in there, which is kind of neat. So I mean, it does work. I just have to activate service, which would be cool since, you know, the stereo works fine. And then of course, I don't know what I'm going to do about this broken cup holder thing. Maybe just find a piece, paint this, or put a little plastic piece to cover that. Or just pony up the whatever, $70, $80, whatever these things are going for, and put it in. But and I went ahead and just mounted like a cup holder here, and it, it's a bicycle cup holder, and I just put a little rubber bushie in there with a screw, and it works out fine. So so that's pretty much it so far. I just added a little paint to the engine. What I want to do, if I ever do the valve cover gasket, is I want to bring down the paint and then you know, strip it, and then, you know, maybe paint it a different color, maybe match the exterior, or, you know, some kind of gray. And then I was just kind of screwing around with some paint, and I might strip this off and, you know, paint it in a different color. And I'm gonna see if I can find a battery cover. But other than that, everything seems to be here. It seems to run real well. You know, I just gave it a tune-up, changed the plugs and the filters and whatnot. And my previous video, I mentioned about these cars typically having a shifting problem. And when I changed the fluid out, instead of doing like a machine flush, I did 4 quarts at a time. I did it about 3 times. And it did improve on the shifting, but still, when it got hot, it wanted the flare, especially around 3rd gear. It would just wash out third gear completely, and then it starts shifting really hard, especially around 2nd gear. So I just did some research on it, and you can buy these, what they're called, linear solenoids, and there's 3 of them. And what you do is you have to get some stuff out of the way. You know, part of some hoses and the whatnot that's around the transmission pan. You don't have to remove the transmission. You can get that pan out. You get access to the solenoids. And they roughly, you know, you pay, depending on where, you know, you shop around, you can pay 100, 160 like I did. They're about 200 and something maybe for a set of 3, and I swapped them out, and that did it. The car shifts like brand new, whatever temperature the fluid gets. So that all worked out, and I went ahead and I got all the new brake rotors and pads in, and I already had new tires mounted from the previous. So what's left I got on the car is just this front, what they call the first bow hydraulic cylinder, which is located in here, and typically they start to leak, and then of course you can't you know, work your top under power. you can do it. It takes me probably less than a minute, if you know, maybe more or less. But to do it manually, all you need is, mine didn't come with a tool, but all it is it's an 8mm, and I picked this one up. I didn't even buy it new. I just went down to a pawn shop and it was like $1. And it fits. This little cover comes off here. You put it in here and it unlocks it. And then these little cover pieces, I don't know if I can show it here, they come off pretty easy. You undo, let me do one-handed here, but you undo this piece because it just kind of it's a wedge fit. You undo that, and there's a little, you can see that where my finger is. That's where it's the same size 8mm Allen goes in there, and you just back it off and it unlocks it. And then you have you just unlock the trunk, and I got it to where it's kind of the hinge there. It's kind of like a horseshoe shape, and all you do is you'll just feel for it and you push it, and it unlocks the rear tonneau cover, and then and then you can start working the cover off manually, and it doesn't take very long at all. So if you're having issues with these cars and you can send it out for service. These cylinders that's mounted up underneath here, they're not too difficult to get out. You take off this piece, and then there's another kind of there's like a locking metal piece under forward of this, and you take the locking. They're called like locking. They're like locking rivets. They're made out of plastic. And their metal plate comes off, and so you can then take this off, and then you get access to the hydraulic cylinder, and then you can take it out and have it serviced, rebuilt for about $200, rather than having to spend one. I think they go for $400 or $500, which is ridiculous, since it's just a simple cylinder. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to do an update of this video. If anybody considering buying one of these, get an automatic. You know, a lot of people go, they don't like automatics. It's nice to have a manual, but I think these automatics work fine. It does have a manual mode. You can go in here, and so you can go through all the gears, and that works fine as well. And they're pretty solid transmissions. You just change the fluids, when it's recommended. And I use this stuff that I forget the. I think it's made by, I think it's Valvoline. It's called Max Life. It's a red bottle, and it's I believe it's a Dextron 4 LV. Let me see if I can find the container I bought. It was less than $20 for 4 quarts. It came in a gallon container, and yeah, you can see here I'm due to, this is all old oil I got to get rid of. Yeah, this stuff here. Valvoline Max Life, it's full synthetic ATF, and it says Dex Merc or Mercon LV, and it's the same. It says for most GM and Toyotas, etc. And you don't have to buy this special some special Saab transmission fluid. This stuff works great. It's worked fine for me. So. And it's like I said, I think I spent maybe $18 for that gallon container. And well, there it is. So if I hold on, I go through cars pretty quick. I'll have one for several months, sell it, and get something else. So, but if I hold on to it, I'm going to do the stage 1 upgrade, and it bumps it up from 210 horsepower to I believe 260. So that will be my next video if I do that. So thanks for watching.